today we are speaking with Anirban. So Anirban actually applied last year, and unfortunately he did not get through many colleges last year. He continued applying this year, and this year he had seen a lot of success rate. So I'll sort of quickly ask Anirban to share his background and also to which colleges he has been able to sort of receive admits from, and at what scholarship he has received from each. Yeah.
Right. So, hi, I'm Anirban, and I have nearly 5.5 years of experience in the IT industry. So, I've been working for Bosch, and I've worked in the same company for the last 5 years. And yeah, this is a brief background on my career in IT. And last year I had applied to a few colleges, and this year I changed my strategy and applied to some other few, and also reapplied to some of the colleges that I had applied last year. So I have applied this year to Georgetown, Marshall, Emory, Scheller, to name a few, and I have received an admit from all. So I've received an admit from Emory with 80K scholarship. Marshall had given a 30K scholarship. Scheller gave me a full ride, which is basically a full GRA that Scheller generally offers. Georgetown unfortunately gave no scholarship, and I think they are a little less with the scholarships. And Kelly gave a 22K per year scholarship. However, this year they did not give any GA to any one of the admits, which normally they give, and they used to give till last year. So I think the scholarship given by Kelly is a little less. But yeah, this is a brief background.
So overall, extremely good results, right? So getting an $80,000 scholarship from MBA, which is considered to be a top 16, 17 program in the US, it's very impressive. Yep. Right? Just a few questions that would jump out to anyone. So first is that you come from an IT based background, so people would be assuming that you have a 760, 770 GMAT in order to get an 80,000 scholarship. So can you just speak a little bit about that?
Right. So I don't have a 760 or 770 GMAT. I think, an average GMAT for an Indian, that is 720. And with the 720, I was able to secure the scholarships. So I do feel that GMAT plays an important role. But what I have felt in my whole process is that I think interview plays a very big part in what you get from the school. And I think that is a very big thing that you can nail after obviously nailing the essays.
Absolutely, man. So one quick question here is that you applied to a bunch of programs last year and you applied to a bunch of programs this year. Right. So what changed for you?
So I think two things I think that has really helped me this year. Firstly is the timing of the application. So last year I applied in round 2, and this year I applied to all the colleges in round 1, and I can discuss, I can take probably 2-3 minutes on discussing why that has been so important. And secondly, I had a 700 last year, so I bumped up my GMAT to 720 this year, and that really helped. Why timing is really important is because I spoke to, probably I will just tell about Emory. So I spoke to an Emory representative these days, and right now they only have they have a batch of 170, 175, and they can only take about 13 to 14 Indians, and they already have an admit of 9 to 10 Indians who have already taken up the offer in the first round, and they are not ready to take up it is the space is very less in the subsequent rounds. So applying in round 1 in a college where space is really important, such as Emory, where the class size is really small, so I think it's very important. So I think those are some of the things that I changed, and obviously GMAT did play a good role. So I think for college like Emory, I will only speak about Emory since that is where I'm going to matriculate. So for Emory, I think 720 is really important for at least an Indian IT male.
Absolutely, man. So now in terms of building your application, so how did that part change? So it's clear that you improved on your GMAT by 20 points, you started early, applied in round 1, but when it comes to your application strategy, so were there any changes that you made from last year?
Yes, the one change that they will always ask is how have you improved your application, and this they have asked me in the application essay and also in the interview that specifically asked me this question. Secondly, I think one of the other thing is not changing your goals drastically. So the goals that I applied with last year, I applied with the same career goal this year. So I think that shows probably a focus on an applicant's part. So I think these are the two things. And while defining that how have you basically improved your career over the last 1 year, you need to be really straight to the point and not go on that, I've just not be a little vague. So probably being specific is something that really helped.
Absolutely. So I'll just crystallize and summarize the important points that you have spoken so far. So one
Yeah.
is that if you're an IT-based applicant or if you're an applicant from a very common pool, try to apply in round one. It's very, very important, as Anirban tells us, and he's a living proof of that. Number two, make sure that if you're a reapplicant, don't drastically change your career goals, at least on your applications. Number three point that Anirban spoke of is that even interviews are very important if you want to win scholarship. And fourth and final point is, let's see, GMAT is important even for US and European schools, but the point is that it's just a threshold, right? So you don't need like 770, 780 on the GMAT to win a large amount of scholarship. So as long as you're meeting these basic requirements and you're doing these things well, there's a good shot that you will sort of end up in a good place like Anirban. Okay, cool. So brilliant. So I think that's a good insightful discussion about your application strategy. Now what we can do is that in case you don't have any more points to add, we can move on to speaking about your interview preparation and how did you approach different interviews for different schools.